Hello and welcome to Healthier You on Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth this lovely evening. Thank you to our wonderful listeners for being with us today. Thank you for making it a date with us. We really appreciate. I am your host, Ekene.
And I am Stephanie. Welcome to another beautiful Tuesday evening with our talk show on Radio Maria 91.3, the Healthier You show. And today we are taking a different turn as we're going to have friends and guests with us in the studio. Today's topic is a topic that we deemed necessary to bring in people who will discuss more and just bring it home to us, you understand. And in the studio today, we're having with us Dr. Otobo Daniel and Femi.
Morning, Joe.
They will be here today to discuss with us. Can we meet you, please, Dr. Daniel?
Hello, welcome to the show once more. I'm Dr. Daniel Otobo. I'm happy to be here with you today. I'm a medical doctor, trained, bred, and buttered in Nigeria. Thank you so much.
And okay, can we meet you too, Femi? Welcome to our show today.
Hello, my name is Femi Omonijo. I'm a physician assistant. It's good to be here.
Well, thank you, Daniel and Femi, for accepting to be our co-hosts for today. Basically, today's show is going to be a discussion forum, and we're all going to dialogue about the topic of the day. Today, our topic for today is drug abuse, and we all can agree that drug abuse is becoming a public health issue. The World Drug Report in 2019 of the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime estimated about 271 million, which is about 5.5% of the world population between the ages of 15 and 64, had used drug in the preceding year. Additionally, the Global Burden of Disease study in 2017 estimated that there were 585,000 deaths due to the drug use worldwide in 2017. And also, a study that was done in Nigeria by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime reported in 2018, which is also the first large-scale nationwide national drug use survey in Nigeria, that 1 in 7 persons between the ages of 15 and 64 had used drug in the previous year, and furthermore, 1 in 5 individuals who had used drug in the previous year are now suffering from drug-related disorders.
Now, if you're wondering what are these big Englishes, these big statistics, let me explain what it means. This is what it means. In Nigeria, 4 out of every 10 secondary school students is on drugs. In Nigeria, 2 out of every 10 civil servants are smoking something. In Nigeria, if you go further to look at the members of the general public, at least 2 people you pass on the road out of every 10 person is high. And what's the worst part? The people who are responsible for driving us around in the society, the bus drivers, 8 out of every 10 bus drivers in Nigeria is them taking something into their head that they are not meant to be doing.
I mean, that's when it comes to the bus driver, it's not surprising.
Really, 2 out of every 10 civil servants. And wow.
I mean, do you see how the way bus drivers drive?
It's a public health issue, really. It is a public health issue. Femi, what is take on this issue of you heard in statistics too?
It's quite shocking, to be honest. And I think it's not far-fetched, because when you actually a frequent outsider, let me use that word outsider, you actually see that in any little gathering rather, there is always an element of drug being exposed. In little gardens we have, sorry to say, but in little gardens we have around Abuja, you would see one form of misuse, abuse going on here and there.
I agree with you, Femi, because
we want to live life.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nigerian today, people are just looking for the way out, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. What exactly is drug abuse when we talk about drug abuse? Drug abuse is something that, when we look at it, is broad. But in a very simple term, I will just define it generally as a substance abuse. Abuse of substances is the excessive use of psychoactive substances such as alcohol, pain medications, euphoria drugs, or illegal drugs. Another thing is, oftentimes, people misuse drug abuse as against drug misuse. Ekene, please, can you throw more light on this drug misuse and drug abuse? Let's understand what exactly we're talking about?
Actually, as you said, people use drug abuse and drug misuse interchangeably. But however, they are actually different things. And I would say the difference lies majorly in the intent. What's your intention behind it? So drug misuse generally should be associated with prescription medicines. Prescription medicines, you're meant to take it in a particular way as directed by your physician or your doctor. But
Please, sorry, prescription medicine. Is it every drug? Panadol, unko?
I mean, ideally, so normally you have things that they will call over-the-counter drugs. You can buy over-the-counter like paracetamol and all of that. But there are drugs that you're meant to buy with prescription. For example, the most common example is antibiotics. We can walk into the pharmacy almost anytime and get one, which shouldn't be because it should be sold on prescription. But that's not what's obtainable in this part of the world for whatever reason. So when we talk about drug misuse, basically is that you're taking it in a manner or in a purpose that is not supposed to be. And you have examples like when you're taking the incorrect drug, or you have this and you're taking on that drug. Basically, when you do self-diagnosis, or you're feeling some type of way, you're not running tests, you're not going to the doctor to find out what's wrong, and you just say, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, oh, it has to be malaria. And you walk into the pharmacy and get malaria and typhoid.
I'm sure Daniel can relate.
Typhoid always goes together with malaria. So, you're not sure what it is, and it could actually not be that. And then you're just taking a drug for something that's not. And you also have the case when you're taking the drug at a wrong time.
Sorry, please, Ekene, are you saying that we've had our people in villages and we have these settings where we have my head, my stomach? Please just mix something.
Mix. This is not
please.
mixology. It's not like you're mixing drinks and everything. But no, it shouldn't be. Actually, you're meant to run tests. You're meant to have a proper diagnosis, and then you
That's a long thing for them there.
But that you can
so is that misuse or that is abuse?
That's misuse because actually you're not taking it according to how it should be or how it's prescribed. You're taking a wrong drug for probably something that is different. And the other forms of misuse too, taking the drug at a wrong time, or you're meant to take this drug only at night. For certain types of drugs, they'll tell you, take it only at night, take it in the morning, take it at certain times, and you decide on your own to take that any time.
Dr. Daniel, he mentioned something about taking drugs at a stipulated time, actually. And some people don't know that there are some drugs that if you're supposed to take it in the morning, that's actually the best time to take those drugs. Some people would just say it's once a day and anytime I just want to take that drug. So what do you have to say on this issue about this misuse?
Taking drugs at specific times are usually to improve the patient's quality of life. And that is where the case of misuse comes in. Still on the misuse, yes, actually, people can actually misuse Panadols. And that is why when you've misused it to the point that your body has gotten used to it, you now need to go extra to now get the effect of the normal Panadol. So you have Panadol extra. But now when you're not dealing with drugs that are to be taken once, if you're treating a patient from a condition that needs to keep him awake, needs to keep him sane, like some of our bus drivers that have been diagnosed with psychological. Now, if they don't take if they don't take the drugs in the morning, so throughout that day they are not themselves, or someone is having running diarrhea and the doctors or the pharmacists say, please take this in the morning, so they don't, and they drive 1 kilometer, they enter bush, they drive 1 kilometer, they enter bush. But if you are told to take a drug in the night, usually that drug has the side effect of causing you to sleep. Like why you would give someone loratadine and not Artifect is because Artifect usually causes people to sleep. So you don't know why your doctor gave you Artifect 3 years ago and he told you in the night. All you know is now you have cough and catarrh and you go to the pharmacist and you order the Artifect for yourself.
I'm sure Femi, you've seen people who do this and they don't understand what they do actually.
They don't know it causes people to sleep and they are driving on the road and they're also driving in the dreams and people's lives are in danger.
See a case whereby probably I've been to the hospital, I was given a prescription, and then I see my neighbor who also has probably the same symptom.
I just pass on the prescription.
I'm
not the doctor.
The prescription the doctor gave my ancestors has been passed down for generations.
So other forms of misuse could also be forgetting to take your drugs, which is why if you're in a setting where everything should work ideally, most times you see the pharmacist sometimes telling you, okay, set an alarm on your phone, something to remind you of it. And then also taking drugs for other reasons are not what they are prescribed for. And something, okay, I think a typical example we can use is Piriton.
Yeah.
We all know Piriton is for allergies, but it also has the side effect of making you sleep. So you see people when they're not able to sleep, they just pop 1 or 2 pills of Piriton, and that's misuse and stuff like that. So, but if you're going to talk about abuse is now based. Your intention is to get high. Is that
euphoria?
Exactly. So according to a definition by the World Health Organization and the American Psychiatric Association in 1956, they said drug abuse is the illicit consumption of any naturally occurring or pharmaceutical substances for the purpose of changing the way in which a person feels, thinks, or behaves without understanding or taking into consideration the damaging physical and mental side effects that are caused by these drugs. So that's where basically the difference between abuse and misuse is the intention. Exactly. So abuse, the person is all about, I want to get that euphoric feeling, I want to get that high, which is unnatural, and then misuse is just on the other part. The person just is not taking it correctly.
Okay, so we'll go on a break, a very short break. We'll open the phone lines later in the program, and I want to drop the phone lines for now so that we'll get it, and then when the phone lines open, we can call in. This is Radio Maria, and our phone line is 081 084 475 18. I'll take it again. 081 084 475 18. So after the break, we'll continue with the drug abuse talk, and 30 minutes into the program, we'll open our phone line so that you can contribute, give us your experiences, and make some observations that you have seen around your area. Voice of Truth. It's your program again, How Dare You, which is every Tuesday by 4 p.m. And today we've been talking about drug abuse. Drug abuse, so far we have just highlighted the prevalence in Nigeria. We've talked about the definition. We have also distinguished between misuse and abuse. And we said what distinguishes misuse and abuse is the intent. Once the intent is there, is it that you want to get well or you want to get high? So this is the difference. And we'll be talking about the causes of drug abuse right away. And the number one point we want to look into is peer influence. That can never be underestimated. The truth is that these people move together. They have parties together. You know what I mean? You can't have a party alone, you know? And they just, then guy, you're not seeing the way forward. You don't know what's going on. You guy, you know? And like when Ekene read the beginning part, when he told us about the prevalence, you could see that 2 in every youth, one out of every 7 youths takes this. And in my research, going round and asking youths, even the ones who are older now, older men, I've asked some of them, what's been your experience? And they tell me that, okay, at some stage in my life, you know, I had to I was with my friend now and everybody was passing around. And of course, I had to. But the truth is that we fail to forget that you mustn't be part of what is going wrong.
Yeah, mustn't follow the crowd.
You mustn't follow the crowd. That everybody is passing around. There should be one person, and that should be you. Say no. I mustn't pass around. And then when I interviewed most of them, they'll come up with the fact that, okay, when I take it there, I don't know myself. You know, they go off and all that.
They wake up in a different place.
In a different place. And they act irrationally. So this is the peer influence we're talking about. You go to parties these days, you have brownies, lists, cookies, like they just come and people are just feeling funky.
The party has not started without that.
And they just, come on, the music is playing already, so why can't you just dance to the music? Do you need to be high to dance? No, exactly. I don't need to be high to dance, you know? Dancing is something that comes from within. I don't need to be crazy for the party to be crazy. You know, so we need to understand that peer influence is something we as individuals can actually check.
When we're talking about causes too, we can also look at family background.
Yeah.
Broken homes, children that probably suffer from neglect from their parents. It leaves you predisposed. You're
Yeah.
vulnerable to the influence of the society and the environment around you. So, family background plays a very important role, because if you have a situation where the parents are hands-on, they are very much involved in the life of their children, you can hardly see them when, I mean, obviously, at some point they will go away to university and everything. They're away from your influence and all. But that one is now vibes and issue. I mean, you're really on your
Vibes
own
and
mission. But family background, when you have a very strong background and all of that, it really plays a role in if you indulge in drug abuse and all of that.
Now speaking about family background, now let's look at the life of the individual particularly. Now, there are things that there's a saying that everyone on earth is actually running from something or running to something. Yeah. So you have a lot of people going through a lot of depression right now. I think Nigeria is in one of the most difficult times, and Nigeria generally can just drive people to do things they won't want to do. You know, if you morning to night you're pondering on your the minus 500 and something naira in your Zenith Bank account, because I know how Zenith Bank is the only one that gives negative figures in your account. So you are thinking about that money till night, and then you now have an avenue to dream of the clouds. I think a lot of people will move towards that. Yeah. So you have a child, and you are not really taking care of your child. Your child just goes to school, come back, you don't know what's happening. He's being bullied, he's being bruised, and he's just reading, but he's not passing, and he's failing. And he joins them boys. In secondary school, there's always that gang they call them boys, and he joins
You know
them
that.
boys. Yeah, and before you know it, he's now searching for salvation in Rochi, cracks, meth, white powder. He's now going to Arizona with smokes in front of him.
Not forgetting Ikuru Mirio, methamphetamines, you know. It's something that has gone
the whole
haywire. You find people in the gutters in the morning.
No, that is Colorado. It helps them colo. But then we need to focus on the individuals. They are really like going through a lot of stuff. So personally, depression and challenges that people go through usually like push them into depression, into drug abuse also.
Well, for real, I feel the causes are really intertwined, because someone has actually spoken about peer group influence, another has spoken about family background. I will actually pick on low self-esteem as well. It's one of those things that actually force people or pushes people into pushes people into the use of illicit drugs. I mean, the inability to actually say no, you're with your friends and you don't want to feel like my co-host
Judas Iscariot.
Yeah,
Oh, you're left out.
like this way. You go to a party and you see them sharing brownies, right? And you got to find you don't want to feel like the odd one. You don't want to feel like the church boy or the church
Jew boy.
girl. Let me also feel
And
this.
I'm hearing another one you were saying about cold. If I see cold drink, I should run away. Please, can we talk about that? Really?
Okay, now usually when we go to parties, most of the drinks are already laced. In 2019, I threw a party and I invited friends from around Nigeria. So I personally separated the Fantas and minerals from the, But then when I came back to the party, I brought people to the location. It was at Graceland Hotel and Nassau. And I came and I found out that those who were also drinking the Fanta were mistakenly, behaving like those who were drinking the other ones in the transparent bottles. And I was wondering what was happening. And then I saw some friends that were wearing jeans jackets and wearing black leathers. And that was how I drank water at my own party. A few hours in, I started carrying people to their hotel room. We were only two that remained conscious afterwards. I and a very, very intelligent pharmacist.
Yeah, so that's one of the very few life experiences you have. These things are actually, we're not just talking, these things are prevailing in our society today. You go to an average party and this is what is going on. And it's not just about party. Ekene, can you please tell us, how do people access these things really? How do they access it?
I mean, that's one of the causes actually of drug abuse, because of it's easily accessible and everything. People can walk into a pharmacy to buy certain drugs, and you have the open markets. Although some government pharmaceutical bodies like the Pharmaceutical Council, they are doing something about the open markets, and also it's also about people. These guys that do these things, they always have a lot of it. Sometimes they have a lot of it, so they can always share. Oh, okay, I have this, I use this.
You know, the time people used to produce this whole crystal meth and purumiri, and why not, get productive and do something else?
I mean, they're not thinking that far. They're not thinking,
that's why we are where we are today. Instead of doing those things, lacing drinks and doing all that, why not think of a positive side of life?
I guess it's just as Daniel had said earlier, we're in difficult times. You have the unemployment rate is increasing every day and all of that. So as this saying goes, the devil's an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So I mean, he will come in different ways. The main thing, and again, I will give you an experience that really shocked me one day. I was in the car with a friend. We went for a birthday party and we're going back home. And we got to a particular place, and there was a guy that was across the road, and he's kind of like signaled to us, like, do you want? I didn't really understand. I didn't understand where he was coming from. Then my friend now looked at me and was like, do you know what he's asking? And I said, no. I said, he was like, he's selling weed. So because he saw two guys in the car, he's asking, is this what you put? I was shocked.
Those things are no longer hidden.
I mean, I was shocked.
That is the painful
No,
aspect.
they are not hidden.
They're not hidden.
They are not
I mean,
hidden.
let me not tell you the funny thing. Not far from there, you see a police checkpoint.
Wow.
So it's actually that close. It's out in the open. Things are no longer hidden these days.
Wow. It's gotten really deteriorated, and that is why Radio Maria brings this program, Healthier You, to help people understand that, yes, we've been hearing drug abuse on TV, hearing drug abuse on radio and all that, but it's actually more than we hear. It has gone deeper and further than we hear. And so we'll go on a short break. By the time we come back, the phone lines will be open and people will can call in. I'll call the lines again. 081 084 475 18. 081 084 475 18. So we'll go on a short break. Don't touch that dial.
You guys, the worst thing is off. The worst thing has